Most car engines don't die from old age. They are quietly destroyed by simple maintenance mistakes their owners never question. Automakers claim your vehicle can go 9,000 miles between oil changes with 5W30 or 0W20 synthetic. But real-world evidence says otherwise. One $50 omission, and you are risking $4,000 engine rebuilds before you hit 60,000 miles. Why do so many Toyota and Honda engines fail so early? And what are the 15 overlooked habits that separate a junkyard wreck from a survivor that reached 500,000 miles? The answers lie where dealer manuals will not look. And some will truly surprise you. Every car engine is a chemistry experiment, running at highway speeds. Oil is the only barrier between polished metal parts and catastrophic friction. But that protection does not last as long as the manual claims. Manufacturer intervals, 6,000 to 9,000 miles, are designed around warranty math, not engine. Survival. In the real world, quality brands like NGK and Denso understand that oil breaks down much faster. Short trips, stop-and-go traffic, and cold starts all accelerate the chemical decay of 5W30 synthetic oil. Instead of staying slick and clear, the oil thickens with soot, water, and unburned fuel. What starts as smooth amber liquid turns into black sludge, coating the inside of your engine like burnt syrup. That sludge chokes off tiny oil passages, starving bearings and pistons of lubrication. Mechanics routinely open up engines with just 60,000 miles and find passages plugged, pistons scored, and timing chains wearing grooves into the block. Engines that run on city streets with lots of short trips and cold starts suffer the most, sometimes showing major sludge in as little as 25,000 miles if oil changes are skipped or stretched. The cost difference is staggering. A $50 oil change every 3,000 miles for conventional oil, or every 5,000 to 7,000 miles for 0W20 synthetic, keeps oil fresh and engines running clean over 200,000 miles. That is an extra $600 to $800 compared to following the manual's long intervals. But that small investment prevents the #1 cause of engine death: oil starvation from sludge. Skip early changes, and you are gambling with a $4,000 engine rebuild, plus the headache of being stranded when it finally seizes. Dealerships and manufacturers have little incentive to push for shorter intervals, since most failures happen after the warranty ends. The real-world evidence is clear. Toyota and Honda engines that make it to 250,000 miles or more almost always have one thing in common: regular, early oil changes. Ignore the marketing. Follow the 3,000-mile rule for conventional oil, 5,000 to 7,000 miles for 0W20 synthetic, and your engine will thank you with decades of reliable service. Letting your engine idle to warm up on a cold morning feels like a safe habit, but the reality is harsh. When an engine idles cold, oil moves slowly, clinging to the sump while the cylinders and pistons stay dry. Meanwhile, the fuel you are burning does not fully vaporize. Instead, droplets of raw gasoline slide down the cold cylinder walls, washing away what little oil film is left. That mixture acts like wet sandpaper, grinding away at metal with every turn of the crank. Mechanics have torn down engines with just 40,000 miles and found deep scratches, worn rings, and compression lost for good, all from years of idling before driving. Oil analysis from fleet vehicles shows unburned fuel diluting the oil by up to 20% in short trip and cold start conditions. The damage stacks up quietly, one winter morning at a time. There is a simple fix. Start the engine, count to 30, then drive gently for the first mile. Light driving gets the oil circulating and the metal parts up to temperature far faster than idling ever could. Within 5 to 10 minutes, the engine reaches full operating temperature, burning off condensation and protecting itself from further harm. Idling for 10 minutes every day, on the other hand, just guarantees that fuel and water are soaking into the oil, shortening the engine's life with every cold start. At the gas station, another everyday habit can quietly sabotage your car's future: Topping off the tank after the pump clicks seems harmless, but it is a direct hit to your emission system. Modern fuel tanks are designed to leave a space for vapor, not extra liquid. Forcing in more gas pushes raw fuel into the evap system, flooding hoses and drowning the charcoal canister that is supposed to trap vapors. That canister is only meant to absorb fumes, not hold liquid. Once it is soaked, it cannot do its job. And the result is a check engine light throwing P0440 or P0455 codes, rough idle, and a persistent fuel smell. Repairs are not cheap. A new canister plus labor easily runs $300 to $900. The fix could not be simpler. When the pump clicks off, stop filling. That empty space in the tank is there for a reason. Ignore it, and you are buying a repair that could have been avoided with a single click. Transmission fluid is the lifeblood of your gearbox, but the idea that it lasts forever is a sales pitch, not a fact. Open a bottle of lifetime fluid next to one drained from a 60,000-mile transmission, and you will see the difference immediately. Fresh fluid looks like clear metallic paint. Used fluid is dark, gritty, and full of microscopic shavings. Every time you shift, internal clutches shed particles, and every gear mesh produces a dusting of metal. Over time, those particles turn the fluid into a kind of liquid sandpaper, grinding away at bushings and bearings from the inside out. Additive packages that once protected those surfaces break down, losing their friction-fighting power long before the transmission shows any symptoms. Manufacturers quietly recommend 60,000-mile changes in their service bulletins. Even as marketing promises, the car is filled for life. The reality in the shop tells a different story. A neighbor who followed the manual and never changed his fluid faced a $4,500 rebuild at 110,000 miles. His Honda transmission started slipping, and then it failed completely. Rebuilds like that are an expensive, avoidable outcome. Right across the street, another driver with the same make and model changed fluid every 60,000 miles. That car passed 200,000 miles without a single transmission issue. The difference was a $150 habit that prevented a $7,000 disaster. The difference could not be clearer. Shops see the pattern daily. Transmissions running on old, contaminated fluid begin to slip, hesitate, or slam into gear. By the wheezy, at times symptoms appear. The damage is already done. No amount of new fluid can reverse years of internal wear. The only real fix is a complete rebuild or replacement, which can cost as much as a used car. The rule is simple. Change your transmission fluid every 60,000 miles, or every 90,000 miles if you drive a hybrid. Always use the exact fluid type listed by the manufacturer, no substitutions. It is a small investment that keeps your transmission shifting smoothly for the long haul. And it is the difference between a car that lasts and one that ends up in the junkyard before its time. Heat is the silent enemy hiding in everyday driving, attacking your car from the inside out. Take your brakes, for example. Every time you slam the pedal at the last second, those rotors can spike from a comfortable 200 degrees all the way up to 800 degrees Fahrenheit. At that point, the metal warps and the pads glaze over, losing their bite. Boiling brake fluid doesn't just feel spongy, it can leave you with no stopping power at all. Mechanics see rotors warped beyond saving in cars with just 10,000 miles, all because of repeated hard stops. The fix is simple. Look ahead, ease off the gas early, and let the car coast before you brake. Use engine braking when going downhill. This habit keeps rotors cool, pads intact, and your stopping distance short when it matters. High-quality brake pads can last twice as long with gentle driving, saving you the cost of replacement and keeping your car safer on the road. Coolant and overheating are where heat does its damage inside the engine. Modern engines rely on coolant not just to keep temperatures in check, but to stop internal corrosion before it starts. Aluminum heads and radiators can warp like soft butter at just 450 degrees Fahrenheit. A temperature easily reached in a single overheating event. Once a head warps, you are looking at a blown head gasket and a repair bill that can top $4,000. Coolant doesn't last forever either. Over 3 to 5 years, the protective additives break down, leaving metal surfaces exposed to rust and scale. Mixing different coolant types, green, red, and yellow, creates a chemical reaction that clogs radiators and destroys water pumps. The rule is simple: flush the coolant completely every 3 to 5 years, and always use the exact type specified by your manufacturer. Even one episode of overheating can mean the end for an otherwise healthy engine. Staying ahead of heat, both in your brakes and your cooling system, is one of the simplest ways to keep your car on the road for the long haul. Strange noises are your car's way of sending out an SOS. Every tick, knock, whistle, or hum carries a message, and the price for ignoring it only climbs with time. A faint ticking on a cold morning is not just background noise, it is often the first sign of low oil or worn lifters. If the sound fades as the engine warms up, that is a classic sign. Oil is not reaching the top of the engine fast enough. Let it go, and those lifters will start running dry, grinding away at the camshaft. The difference between a $45 top-up and a $2,800 rebuild can be just a few weeks of wishful thinking. Start by making a checklist when a new noise appears. Do not just turn up the radio and hope for the best. Does it happen only at startup or all the time? Is it louder when turning, braking, or accelerating? Noting the exact conditions is the fastest way to pinpoint the problem before it spirals. A whistle at startup could mean a serpentine belt is about to snap. A constant hum at speed usually means a wheel bearing is failing. Catch these early, and repairs stay in the double digits instead of 4 figures. One driver ignored a tick-tick-tick for 3 weeks, assuming it would go away. By the time the engine started knocking, the oil was 2 quarts low and the lifters were starved. The result was a torn-up camshaft and a full engine teardown. That is the cost curve. Wait too long, and a simple fix turns into a financial disaster. Listening, investigating, and acting fast is not just smart, it is the cheapest insurance you will ever buy for your car. A clutch is designed to last well over 100,000 miles, but only if you treat it right. Resting your foot on the pedal, even lightly, keeps the clutch partially engaged and creates constant micro-slips. That friction builds up heat, wearing away the clutch disc a little every mile. Mechanics see cars needing a new clutch at just 25,000 miles, all because of a habit drivers barely notice. The fix is simple. Keep your foot completely off the clutch pedal unless you are shifting. At stoplights, put the car in neutral instead of holding the clutch down. On hills, use the parking brake to hold position, not the clutch. A $1,200 repair bill becomes a distant worry if you follow this rule. Some drivers reach 200,000 miles on a single clutch. Fuel pumps are another hidden weak spot. They sit submerged in the tank, cooled and lubricated by gasoline. When you let the level drop below a quarter tank, the pump starts sucking in hot air and sediment from the bottom. That heat can push the pump well past its safe limit, burning out the motor and sending debris into the fuel system. Once the pump fails, you are looking at a $600 replacement and possibly being stranded. Keeping at least a quarter tank is not just about avoiding inconvenience. It is about protecting a part that was never meant to run dry. Spark plugs may claim a 100,000-mile lifespan, but real-world driving tells a different story. Cold starts, traffic, and cheap gas wear out the electrodes long before marketing promises run out. By 40,000 or 50,000 miles, worn plugs can start misfiring, waste fuel, and even overheat the catalytic converter, which can be a $2,000 mistake. Always use quality plugs from trusted brands like NGK or Denso and swap them early. Crisp starts and smooth acceleration are the payoff, along with an engine that stays healthy for the long haul. Quality plugs pay off in reliability and longevity. Timing chains need attention too, especially in high-mileage vehicles. Schedule a 100,000-mile timing chain inspection, as these components stretch over time. A stretched timing chain can jump timing, causing catastrophic valve damage. While timing belts have clear replacement intervals, timing chains are often neglected until they fail. Early inspection catches stretch before it becomes a $4,000 engine rebuild. Engine mounts work in silence, holding the engine steady and absorbing shock before it reaches the frame. As years and miles add up, typically 5 to 7 years or 80,000 to 120,000 miles, the rubber inside each mount hardens and cracks. The first sign might be a faint vibration at idle or a dull thump when shifting into gear. If left unchecked, that small movement grows. The engine starts to rock, straining exhaust pipes, radiator hoses, and even the transmission. Mechanics have traced cracked radiators, broken exhaust manifolds, and misaligned transmissions to a single worn mount. When an ignored $300 part fails, repairs can quickly pass $2,000 as damage spreads from one component to the next. A simple brake rev test reveals trouble. With the parking brake on, shift into drive or first gear, and gently press the gas. If the engine rocks more than an inch or two, the mounts need attention. Replacing them early protects the rest of the car and prevents a cascade of costly repairs. Beneath the mounts, the frame faces its own quiet threat: rust. Winter road salt clings to metal, drawing in moisture and starting corrosion that can eat through suspension arms, brake lines, and the frame itself. The car may look flawless above, but underneath, rust can be terminal. Monthly high-pressure undercarriage washes in winter, or every 2 weeks in humid climates. Strip away salt before it can take hold. A yearly anti-rust coating, a $150 investment, can add a decade of safe driving. Cars that reach 500,000 miles almost always have spotless frames. Protecting what is hidden is the foundation for a car that truly lasts. Dealership service advisors are paid in part by the repairs they sell, sometimes earning up to 15% commission on every upsell. It is not uncommon for a shop to recommend a $400 transmission flush at 20,000 miles, even when the manufacturer interval is 3 times that. Mechanics have caught advisors showing customers photos of someone else's worn brakes just to close a sale. The best defense is simple: never accept a repair quote without actual proof. Demand photos of the part in question, ask for measurement data, and do not hesitate to get a second opinion. This single habit can save thousands over a car's lifetime, protecting you from unnecessary flushes, filters, and urgent replacements that do nothing but pad the shop's bottom line. Electrical health is just as easy to protect and just as often overlooked. White, crusty buildup on battery terminals acts like insulation, blocking the flow of current and forcing your alternator to work overtime. Drivers have paid $900 for a new starter, only to discover the real fix was a $5 wire brush and a dab of baking soda. Every 3 or 4 months, pop the hood and check the terminals. If you spot corrosion, disconnect the cables, scrub them clean, and coat with dielectric grease to keep new buildup away. This 5-minute job keeps sensors happy and prevents misdiagnosed electrical failures that can spiral into expensive repairs. And for the simplest power move of all, always use your parking brake, even on flat ground. The letter P on your shifter locks a tiny metal pin called the parking pawl. On a slope, the entire weight of your car rests on that pin, which is barely thicker than a paperclip. Over time, microfractures develop, and one bad parking job can snap it in half, sending your car rolling and destroying the transmission. Pull the parking brake before shifting into park. It costs nothing, takes seconds, and prevents a $3,000 transmission disaster. These habits are not just about saving money. They are about taking control, protecting your investment, and driving with confidence for years to come. Today, most cars on the road could outlast their owners, yet millions are junked early by preventable failures. As repair costs soar and supply chains tighten, every maintenance choice now carries real financial weight. The small habits you practice don't just save money. They decide whether your car is a short-term expense or a long-term asset. In the end, longevity is built, not bought.